Hello, welcome to another episode of Trek Cannon. So let me come down here so you can do my little Starfleet uniform pull. So let's get right into it. As you guys know, as you guys can tell, I have on my Starfleet captain's uniform. All right, there's a very specific reason for that. Because Star Trek is back. Is Star Trek back? I think Star Trek is back, people. Look, we're going to talk about Star Trek Lower Decks Episode 7, Much Ado About Boilmer. Boilmer, okay? Now, let me just say right off the bat that after watching this episode of Star Trek Lower Decks, I'm going to have to say that this is the reason I put on my Starfleet uniform, because Star Trek is finally coming back. The stories, the intrigue, the writing, what made Star Trek is coming back. So as such, since I haven't been able to put this uniform on since 2008, okay, since they just totally just started destroying everything that I believed was Star Trek, all right, it feels good to finally be able to don my Starfleet captain's uniform again and talk about what I love, and that's Star Trek. So let's get right into it. I utterly loved this episode. I loved everything about this episode. There was nothing that I did not like about this episode, maybe one thing, but it's totally explainable. So let's get right into it. So this episode deals with generally the aftermath of what happens when something bad happens to you in Starfleet and they can't cure it. Okay, what do they do with these officers? What do they do with these personnel? Okay, they don't just drum them out of Starfleet. That's not cool. Okay, we know that in Star Trek canon, uh, these people are usually placed in a facility to where they can be um, helped. Okay, if they can be helped. All right, like for instance, like Captain Pike was. I'm jumping ahead of myself. Let's start from the beginning. First, basically, a transport experiment that Robertson was running uh, caused Boilmer to phase out, and I love the high pitched frequency noise that he was putting off. That was awesome. That was the first time we seen that in Trek. But if you out of phase, your frequency's off, which means you probably might emit a sound. So I thought that was a pretty cool addition. Um, there was so much in this episode, man. Look, let me grab my where's my thinking my Bob Ginger who's a pheasant whatchamacallit. I lost my thing about Bob who's a pheasant whatchamacallit. So I'm just do it from memory. All right, we just finna do this from memory alpha. Now, um, things biting you that'll make you old. All right, there are so many things in Star Trek canon that will make you old. All right, you have the disease from the deadly years from the original series. You have those kids in Unnatural Selection episode from the Next Generation where they start aging Dr. Pulaski and the crew. Um, um, you have when I think of insects though, I always think of the original series episode Wink of an Eye, but wasn't insects. So I hope I didn't spoil it for everybody. But there is precedence in Star Trek canon for things affecting your metabolism that'll make you old. Now, what I didn't understand is that for that particular guy, the remedy for Dr. Pulaski was to use an uncontaminated form of string of her DNA and run it through a transporter. So I wonder what was up with his. Okay, you had all kinds of the guy who was watching, who was transporting these affected Starfleet personnel. Was he species A472? I'm gonna tell you, off an educated Starfleet guess, I'm gonna say yes. He was species A472. But Captain, he had 3 arms and 3 legs. Species A472 has 3 legs, and most pictures show them as having 2 arms. But as we all know, species A472 has limited shape shifting capabilities. Okay, so their purely natural form can have 3 arms, or maybe in this particular episode, he needed a third arm for something, which he grew. We know that they can turn human from Voyager. Okay, so there is precedence that a species A472 can have slightly different appendages or slightly less appendages or more than what we're accustomed to. But that was species 8472, which was awesome because there's also precedence that species 8472 would get along with Starfleet. Because in Voyager, the last episode that I'm going to have to say really didn't do them justice, they started to open up a dialogue with Bixby, well, the representation of Bixby, Boothby, I should say, uh, to form a dialogue. Okay, so it's not far fetched to believe that they actually did because the species 8472 is only benevolent to the Borg because the Borgs are assholes. Now, um, the uh, the relationship between I always forget Mariner and her friend from Starfleet. You can see that that really affected her, seeing that her choices kind of put her back from being at least a commander, by this time. I really dug her friend that was a captain, and I really dug the way they contrasted the differences in between them, And at first I was thinking to myself, hey, Mariner's she's a mess up, but one thing I will have to say about her when S hits the fan, you know what I'm saying? She steps up and she is Starfleet, So I love that, she's juvenile in most things, but when it comes to it, she steps up and is a Starfleet officer. So I thought that was awesome. I'm actually she's actually starting to wear on me. She's starting to be a lot more dynamic than what I first pegged her out to be as somebody who shouldn't be in Starfleet. Okay. So I like that. Oh, the fact that they included the the Far Point Station entity. Wow, wow. When that ship turned into the Far Point Station entity, or one of the species from the Far Point Station episode, Encounter at Far Point, I think I have to just clap. I have to clap. There was so many things in this episode that I was just like, wow. There was so many Easter eggs. This I'm gonna have to say this made me go and actually put, like I said, put on my Starfleet uniform because it's back. Much ado about nothing. It was funny. The dog was hilarious, and if you think about it, if you've never seen a dog before and you decide to make one and it's doing crazy stuff, you probably think, oh yeah, this is what dogs do. Dogs can release bats out their head or fly or float, So that was hilarious, and everybody running around telling them, no, this not it's not what dogs do. But that was an awesome dog, man. This when he turned into a little spider thing, and started running around walls. I'm gonna have to say, dog gotta go. Dog gotta go. We're gonna have to put the dog in the airlock and jettison the dog. That's just how that's gonna have to go. So they paid a lot of homage to so many things in Star Trek canon in this episode, and the writing was so well in this episode. The jokes were on point. Um, the references that they used were accurate. It was just a great episode of Star Trek. It was just a great episode of Star Trek, and I am so happy that it's back. So I made people start whining about me doing spoilers, so I had to watch out for giving away the secrets, giving away the Omega directives. I had to scale it back. I had to bring it in. I had to reel it in. I had to reel it in. But let me know what you guys think. If there's anything I missed, it was so much I wanted to put in this video, but for some reason I can't make a normal length video. I can't. My son really needs to help me out with this because if we having Star Trek back, I'm gonna have to actually get into some actual production, show you screen clips, maybe, man, some magic marker writing on some boards or something, hold it up with some kind of non-copyright stick figure animation drawings or something, because that's about the extent of my artistic ability. Anyway, so Kapla, thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for subscribing. If you haven't, please subscribe, ring the bell, don't forget. And I am happy to say peace and long life. Live long and prosper, people. Kapla.